Hey there, Tina here. Okay, so it is December 30th, 2020. We are finally winding down on this obviously powerful year. I have been feeling into what to talk about in this year-end video, and I've noticed this is something that with the exception of when I'm working with clients or people in person, but when I'm doing something like this where I'm not actually speaking with you in live time, it's something that I tend to avoid. So I just want to talk about this. I know December has been a very powerful month. We have definitely shifted in our collective consciousness. We have definitely upgraded to a higher level of knowing of ourselves. And it feels like there's a little nudge for me to say this as we enter into this new year of 2021. Some of you may know that I work as a self-empowerment mentor, and essentially what that means is for you to live in your highest truth, knowing how powerful you really are. So based on the understanding that everything happens from the inside out, we used to think that it would happen to us, and so therefore we have an old mental conditioning to wait for things to happen before we can feel good. You know, there's a pattern we have in in relationships, whatever the nature of the relationship is, or if it's a job situation or anything like that, that I need you to be blank so that I can feel good, so that I can be happy, so that I can feel content with myself. But we know that that's not true. We know that everything is our choice, and it can be very liberating to know that everything is our choice in who we are. And it can also be very daunting and very overwhelming. So you probably have been feeling a lot of shifts this month. We've been hearing a lot of language around astrology and things like that have been happening, which have been happening. But I find that a lot of this stuff, there's kind of always this lingering, hovering chicken and the egg conundrum. So which came first? Did a planetary shift come first and then I felt it? Or am I shifting and the planets are reflecting that? Is the Schumann resonance dictating my vibrational frequency? Or is my vibrational frequency reflected in the Schumann resonance? What resonates most for me, because it's the most empowering perspective, is to know that, it's kind of hard to distinguish really, because it's not that one is coming before the other. That's old perception. That's linear perception, to think that something happens and then something happens. That's our perception of time as well. So we don't have a full understanding or a full meta view of the workings of the universe and how change happens, but we are coming to understand that it is our consciousness that drives that change. Okay? And that it all works in unison. So this is where it's a bit of a mind fuck for the mind, because the mind wants something to come first, so that I can look to something else and go, okay, well, when that happens, then I can feel better or good or whatever it is, right? But what if in your experience, what if everything that you're experiencing, what if all this great stuff, and what if all the hard stuff and all of that, what if all the tension, and what if that's all coming from within you? Is it what happens when we can no longer use the reasoning that it's somebody else's fault? What if I can't blame anything else for how I feel anymore? Then who am I? This is what we're stepping into. This higher consciousness, this knowing of that power within us. So all that we've had so many narratives and so many branches of narratives, and I don't mean to roll my eyes in negative judgment. I'm just like, whoo, it's been so intense this year of all that's been coming up within us for how we are perceiving ourselves, each other, the world, right? A lot of it has been pointing fingers and blaming and holding something else responsible for me, for my well-being. But we've also been learning, some of us, not all of us, but a lot of us have been really having a very real experience of what happens when we just focus within ourselves. We just hold that focus within ourselves of presence and love and compassion, and just allowing all that other stuff to be, and noticing that that reflection starts to shift, because that's how it works. That's just how it works. It comes from here first, and then you see it reflected back to you in that reality. So who am I if I'm not holding somebody responsible for my life experience? It can seem an easy choice to do that. I would say it's lazy. It's a little lazy. It's easy for sure, but it's also kind of lazy. At some point it's lazy. At some point it's the only option that's available, because that's all we can perceive, okay? But when we expand our consciousness and we see more, and our blinders start to come down, and we tune in with ourselves, this is how we create that future, right? And I've been talking about embodying what it is that you prefer to create moving forward. So let's just say that there are beings in the world who have been holding control of how things have been running. That's true. There is truth to that, and it's also metaphorical. So what that means is don't invest all your energy into that, because that's not going to change them. One of the things that I said on solstice for an intention I set for myself was to start to see the world without them. You know, we talk about them a lot. But where is my power when I'm holding them responsible for my freedom and my happiness? But they can't, whoever they are, the reptilians, the governments, the whatever, right? They don't actually have any power over me and my consciousness unless I allow that, because it's an idea that I am holding. So some of us can go really deep into those rabbit holes of them, whatever the them is. People who are choosing not to think for themselves and who are judging people who are asking questions and questioning everything. Those are them, those anti-whatevers, right? You can have that experience. You absolutely can. Higher consciousness comes with the knowing that you have choice. And again, that choice is all powerful. Who do you choose to be? There's nothing really pre-written or predestined with this, except for that we are in a new energy cycle. We are embodying more light. Each individual's experience of that is going to be different from the next, although when we allow that light to be known within ourselves, there's a commonality, right? Which is love, acceptance, and that's the basis of unity consciousness, right? Is understanding that we are diverse, that we are not all supposed to be the same. We are one, but we are diverse. There has to be complexity. Otherwise, how do we grow? How can we possibly evolve if we have nothing to give us an opportunity to choose something different? So nothing, higher consciousness doesn't become same. It's more, but on a higher level of existence, a higher level of being. So the foundation of that higher level of being is love, is compassion, is giving, is kindness. But that's the foundation. And so we start to build that new world from that place. Rather, the old world, the old 3D consciousness, as we've called it, is more, the foundation of that has been very fear-based. And that's the nature of low consciousness. So are there beings who have been responsible for holding that low consciousness? Sure, each one of us, absolutely. Are there a select few? Sure. Are they now? No. Unless you want them to be. Okay, so there's something about that too. So let's just say if you're holding them responsible in any way, whoever they are, for whatever they have done or are doing, let's just say the ideal scenario is that they are caught and that they are brought to justice and that they are, I don't know, put in jail, banished from the planet, whatever. There's a lot of different scenarios going on. Let's just say that happens, because that's inevitable. Whatever that idea is, that's inevitable. That has to happen within you, for you. So if we wait for that external happening to occur, then what? How are you going to be when that happens? So let's just say that there is an incident that like all of a sudden it's just wiped. It's just gone. Who are you then? Do you want to start recouping yourself and your energy then? Or do you want to do that now and trust in the process? There is benevolence in light, okay? What we're talking about is malevolence, and we can just leave that to be what it is. Stop pushing against it. Trust in the benevolent process of conscious evolution, of ascension. This is happening. So allow yourself to tune into how you're feeling when you're thinking certain thoughts, because it's that feeling that is your indication of where those thoughts and your perception and your perspectives are taking you in terms of what you're creating. It's so important. I cannot underline this enough, to continually practice and become very proficient in embodying and becoming aligned with that future. Because again, if you watched my video on the metaphorical energies of this year, there was the hindsight, the peripheral, and the future. And the hindsight was obviously hindsight. Peripheral is blinders coming down, seeing everything, giving us opportunity to choose. The future was blank, and that was because it's not created yet. We are creating that right now. Do we want to continue and create? I know there's a lot of belief that there's a big difference between ignoring something and looking at it straight on and still knowing your truth, okay? Don't put up those blinders in ignorance and say, I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it. It's all about your intention. If you want to put up your blinders so that that's helpful in you focusing within yourself on your power, go for it. My invitation to you, at whatever point you feel comfortable, is take those blinders down, observe everything that's as much as you possibly can while maintaining your center, because that, dear friends, is mastery. Okay? Learning to detach from our reactive patterns from the past, learning to be response-able, knowing who I am and understanding the quantum mechanics of all of this, that they cannot affect me unless I choose for them to affect me. And the ways that I choose for you or anybody else to affect me in a negative way is by holding focus on it in a negative way. If I'm fearing it, I'm holding it in me. It's there's such a level of illusion to all of this that it's okay to get playful with this. Okay, we look at this from such a 3D ground level, physical, this idea that everything is so as it seems, but it's not, because if you pivot your perspective, then it changes. If you pivot your perspective another way, then it changes. So it's just the mind. We have old conditioning, and we have a history of thems, right? We do. So it's totally valid. Just become more aware of how you are being in relation to them and who they are and who you are. Really shifting that focus to who you are, knowing who you are. And this isn't an easy process. Let's not sugarcoat this. For some, it's becoming easier and easier and easier. For some, there are many more souls who are stepping into this path and having their awakening. And we need to have compassion for everybody, because it's inevitable for everybody. It's inevitable for every soul to have an evolutionary process. And those of us who have chosen to incarnate here on Earth at this time are going to have this. Not all in our current lifetimes. So I don't know how much I'm going to see in my lifetime, because I don't know how long I'm going to be in this physical state. Same for you. But over generations, it's completely different. It's new. It's only our minds that are carrying over the old. It doesn't have to be a big fight. I hope this finds you in a place of ease and comfort and excitement for this new year. Yeah. I will continue to hold this space and to invite you to step further and deeper and higher into yourself. I hope you have I hope you've had a great December. I hope you had a great Christmas season. I hope you've been enjoying the energies of our shifting consciousness and our higher raising consciousness. It's been amazing. I hope that you have the happiest. Choose the happiest transition into your new year for yourself. So much love to you. We got this. Okay. Blessings.